Hey everyone. Um, Good afternoon, I guess, or good evening, depending where you are, or maybe good morning if you're in Australia. Anyways, um, impromptu share. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about a conversation I had um, with actually somebody I work with when I feel stuck. So this is usually I always share about my own client's experience. I'm going to tell you about one of my experience. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ilsa Comtier there. I help soulful entrepreneurs, healers, coaches who kind of feel frustrated, feel stuck, like they're spinning their wheels to discover their own unique path to more clients, more impact, more money, and a lot more joy and ease in their business because who the hell doesn't want that, right? Um, so I, and this happens. So by the way, this is the thing about being in business. Being in business is always personal growth process, always. I don't know anyone who hasn't started their business who's had to really move through their own struggles, move through their own traumas, move through their own blocks, their own belief systems that get in the way, and in some way haven't had to overcome, relax, heal, release, all these things. And by the way, I will say to you, I've essentially had my own business for over 10 years at this point, and it's almost like layers. You're always meeting new levels and discovering more about how you show up and what's important to you over and over and over. So it's never done. It's just that we get better at figuring ourselves out. We get better at moving through what keeps us stuck or whatever resistance is showing up. So I woke up this morning. And by the way, if you're watching this at any point, say hello to me. Let me know you're here. I always like to know who's watching this. And let me know if you can resonate to this. So I woke up this morning and something was off. Like I have a lot of content that's already created. I was going through my content, trying to figure out what I was going to share today. Nothing felt quite right. I was rewriting stuff. I was finding spelling mistakes and just getting annoyed. And I realized that I was out of flow and I was out of trust. Trust that whatever I have is good enough. Trust that it doesn't need to be perfect. And flow in not trying to figure it out. Flow in not trying to have the exact right thing, but just being able to say what feels good right now, what feels right now. And a lot of time, I think this is what happens, is we get caught up in our heads and we get in our own way in terms of figuring out what to talk about, what to share, um, and we end up out of alignment. And so for me, so I was talking to this person I work with, telling him how I was stuck today, and I was frustrated that I was stuck because I've been doing this for so long that I expect to not ever find myself in these places. Um, and so we had this entire conversation, and he asked me, he's like, how do you know when you're out of trust and when you're out of flow? And I started thinking back and looking at what happens within me. Obviously, we have an internal barometer to some degree. Like we know what happens internally when we're out of trust. Like it feels tight, nothing's working, everything feels like a chore or feels hard. Like we're just internally in resistance. But when I started looking at what happens out there, here are a few things that happen for me when I'm out of trust, when I'm out of alignment, when I'm not in flow. I start spinning my wheels. Nothing feels quite right. I feel like I have to come up with different things. Feel like I have to do things differently. I start being kind of all over the place, wondering if I'm doing things right, wondering if I should be doing something else, when I know somewhere deep inside that that's never worked. It's never worked to change strategy midway. It's never worked to give up something and start something else, especially when you start something from a place of misalignment. The only thing you get more of is misalignment. Um, when I'm feeling out of alignment, out of trust, out of flow, I'm I find myself like suddenly being interested in all the shiny objects, like some master class or some course or somebody's, live challenge or something like that. And I forget almost in these moments, like, oh, the answer is going to be in this thing. And I forget that I've been doing this for years and I've never found the answer to be in this thing. The answer is never in this thing, especially not at that level. Like, it's one thing to invest in a really deep, long standing course or working one-on-one with someone where you can go deep. But all those short courses or tiny offers or free offers, they always kind of whet your appetite, but they leave you hungry. They don't actually give you a solution, which is totally fine. They're not meant to do that. These people are sharing what they have to get you moving, to get you going, so that you're hungry for what they have next. And that's just the way business works. It's totally okay. We wouldn't expect people to share everything they've got for nothing. But when I'm out of alignment, I get back in this old pattern that essentially tells me I don't have what I need. And I start following and chasing every shiny object. That is one of the first signs for me that I'm actually disconnecting from my own sovereignty, that I'm disconnecting from that place within me that is aligned with my purpose, aligned with my gift, aligned with my clients, my deep clients, my real clients, my soul clients, and essentially like disconnected from my soul, from my true source of power and wisdom. And I started looking for it everywhere else. I think a coach in some way, or a therapist or a healer, is there to actually not so much to give you the answer, although they will do some of that just from their own experience and from their clients' experience, but they're there to awaken within you your own answers. They're there to teach you how to get to your own answers. They're there to give you the map, the roadmap, and maybe walk the path with you as you discover your own answers. So when I'm out of alignment, when I'm lacking trust in the process, trust in myself, trust in God, maybe in the sacred, in life, in the organic intelligence that is, then I start looking for answers everywhere else rather than stopping and coming back to me. Um, and then what starts to happen is I stop following the plan. Like, one thing that's extremely important for all of us who are lighthouses, soulful business people, is to have a plan. To have a plan that we put together when we are in these things, when we are in flow, when we are in trust, when we are in alignment. When we are in trust and flow and alignment and we create a plan from that place, then the plan will work. It doesn't always work as quickly as we want to, but it will work. And where we get in trouble is we give up the plan, we stop following the plan too quickly, or anytime that we are bumping against our own resistance, our own fears, our own wounds, our own rejection, our own judgments, whatever it is that we're bumping into, then we start deviating from the plan and we literally like stop any kind of momentum in its track. Um, and then the last thing that lets me know when I'm not in trust, when I'm not in flow, when I'm not in alignment, I stop having a good time. Like, I noticed this morning when I was looking in, like, trying to figure out what I was going to talk about and what I was going to create in terms of content, it felt like effort. It felt like work. It didn't feel fun. It didn't feel joyous. It didn't feel easy. It felt like I had to get it right. I had to figure it out. And the moment that happens, Like, it doesn't actually matter what I put out. It doesn't matter if it's like amazing stuff. My energy is going to be so off that it's not going to land. It's not going to land. It's not going to be seen. Like, people are just not going to connect to it. It won't matter. Like, when we talk about success, it's success is a synergy, is a union between um, strategy and energy. Like, you can have the right strategy, but if your energy is off, it won't work. And you can have the right energy, but if you don't have the strategy, it won't work. And oftentimes I see that to be very, I see like courses and programs, they're either focusing on one or focusing on the other, when really you need a marriage of both, and you need a marriage of both in a way that actually makes sense. And so when I was working with this person today and going through my own resistance and my own stuck place, and I was connecting, and this is a practice I do a lot and I teach my clients to do, I was connecting with something in me that was essentially having a tantrum. And when I connected to this young part of me, usually it's a young part of me, um, and I asked her, "What's going on? What's happening here?" What I got from her is like almost like this like 5, 6 year old, like super hard headed, super stubborn. What she said to me is this. She said, "If it's not simple, if it's not enjoyable, if it's not easeful, then it's not happening. I'm not going to do it." And it was very clear, like this part of me had no interest in any kind of business that didn't feel good, in any kind of business that wasn't in that sense of trust, in that sense of flow, in that sense of ease, of alignment. If it wasn't fun, if it wasn't enjoyable, if it wasn't easeful, she's just gonna put her foot down and not do it. And so that led me to start thinking, and this is something I'm gonna play with myself, and I'm inviting you to play with that as well. If we go with the idea in our business, in our marketing, in our sales, in our content creation and delivery, in just the growth of our business, that we imagine this idea that if it's not simple, if it's not enjoyable, if it's not in flow, easeful, then it's not going to work. Like, if we take this as truth, if I do something and it's not enjoyable, it's not simple, it's not easeful, it's not in alignment, it's not in flow, it's not going to work, then the question becomes, then how do I make it so? How do I make what I do? How do I make my business more in flow, more easeful, more simple, more enjoyable, more in alignment with myself, with my soul, with my goals, with my clients, just more, easier. And figuring out what that looks like. Like, for example, I'm coming live right now. I don't have anything prepared. I'm doing this live just based on my experience today. That feels a lot easier than me trying to figure out a whole shit ton of content, which has its value, by the way. But for me to try to do that, if I'm not feeling it, I could have the best training for you guys. What's going to happen is, if I'm out of alignment, one, no one's going to show up and see it. Facebook's literally not going to show it. And two, even if it's great content, my energy is going to be off and it's going to fall flat. So that's my little tidbit for you, is figure out internally for you, what do you do when you're out of alignment? What do you do when you're out of trust, when you're in doubt, when you're out of flow, when you're in resistance? What does that look like? And start becoming aware of your own signs. Like, what is happening inside you, but also what's happening out there? What are you doing? Are you, for me, sometimes I get caught up in Netflix. Or do you go for the fridge? Or do you start buying a whole bunch of new courses or new trainings or join a bunch of new challenges and waste hours of your day and your week following someone else, rather than going in and doing what's alive for you? Do you get all caught up in your head? Do you actually get paralyzed and do nothing, like just stop all momentum? Become aware of what resistance, with like what doubt, feels like within you and looks like in your life. And then start to refocus towards ease, start to refocus towards flow, towards trust, towards fun. Like, if I was in absolute flow, in absolute trust, in absolute alignment, if I was having an amazing time, what would I talk about? What would that look like? And essentially, like, start refocusing all your marketing, all your sharing, all your content towards that. Like, how do you make it easy? How do you make it simple? How do you make it enjoyable? And when it's not, you're actually better off taking a breather, going for a walk, doing something different, dancing in your living room, whatever it may be. And then rather than trying to put content out, rather than trying to move and push through the resistance, actually trying to figure out what would feel good right now. If I was to do anything for my business, for connecting with my people, what would feel easeful? What would feel aligned? What would feel fun? And then do that. Maybe literally that looks like you taking a picture of this flower in your yard and sharing that and talking about growth and how you love spring. Maybe it looks like going for a walk and getting on live for 1 minute in the local park and talking about how sometimes, like, self-care and going for a walk is the best medicine. Keep in mind that connecting, growing our business is about building relationships. It's about this common know, like, trust. Like, people want to know you. They want to know who you are. They want to like you, and then they want to trust you. I forget that a lot. Like, this is not something I'm really good at. But, like, having a business doesn't mean that we've got to be experts or we've got to be professional all the time. Sometimes growing our business, especially a soulful, transformational business, is about being real, being human, and just sharing from that place of being real and being human. And then seeing what happens. And oftentimes, the people who really have great results out there tend to be people who do that. They're relaxed, they're having a good time, they're enjoying themselves, they're sharing from a place of truth, of vulnerability, of authenticity. So that's my little tidbit for today. Just be in flow, be in trust. Trust that whatever you do, if it's aligned, if it's fun, it will give you the results you want. There's no way around that. You will make connections. You will start conversations. You will have people be interested in who you are and what you're offering. That's just the way it works. When things are not working in our business is because we're pushing and we're not having a good time and our energy is off. So again, soulful success is a marriage between a synergy between energy and strategy. Yes, we have a plan and we need to follow the plan, but we also need to create the plan when we are in the right energy. And then we need to make sure we stay in that energy as we're following the plan and moving forward. If this feels aligned to you and you'd like to chat with me, I love to connect with people. And I offer a free hour of you and I looking at your business, looking at your marketing. I like to tell people, like, if you give me an hour of your time, I'll give you your own unique roadmap to more clients, more ease, more money, more joy, more impact. And there's nothing to lose there. It's not a sales call. It's you and I connecting, is you getting to know me and me getting to know you on a more personal level, and me making sure that people like you who are wanting to really have a positive effect on the world have a leg up. Because most of us are introverted, most of us are quiet, and oftentimes it is people like us who are introverted and quiet who actually need to find our own unique, sacred, aligned way to put ourselves and to put our gifts out there so that people can find us. And that's essentially my mission. I've spent years being the best kept secret. And I was doing myself a disfavor, but I was also doing all the people I could work with a disfavor. So my mission is to help really soulful people who have a gift to offer, who have a way to transform lives and transform the world, and give them a leg up, give them a strategy, give them a path forward that feels easy, that feels easeful. Well, I don't know about easy. It's never completely easy, but it can be simple. That feels easeful, that feels joyful, and that not only transform and impacts people, but also feeds their own soul and feeds their bank account, because we do have to pay our bills and live, and we deserve to, because that's, we create such value in the world that we deserve to have that value come back. It has to be a balanced exchange of energy. So if you give me an hour of your time, I will give you a roadmap, a blueprint, of your own unique path to more clients, more ease, more money, more impact, and a lot more joy in your business. And if that feels interesting, just put #brainstorm or in the comments, or message me. I'm usually a little better at this to see. And by the way, if you're still watching this, at some point, say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. I always like to know. And let me know if you resonated with this at all. Like, do you struggle with being out of alignment, and what does that feel like to you? How do you know when you're out of alignment? I'd love to hear, because we're all a little different. All right, guys. I see Heather leaving 11. Yeah, Heather says, I love that. How do we make it easier and more in flow? I mean, I think that that's an inner discovery. Obviously, we all have to figure out what that looks like for us. And for me, it's an inquiry. We have to ask ourselves, what would be simple right now? What would be easy right now? What would feel in flow right now? What would be enjoyable right now? And trust that. Even if what would feel simple and enjoyable doesn't feel very business-like, trust that. I know someone in her business. I'm just going to give you a little tidbit. I know someone in her business who does 3 things on social media. She posts pictures. She loves her cats. She's got 2 cats. She posts pictures of her cats. She loves to cook and create recipes. She is in nutrition. So she creates recipes and makes really beautiful plates and takes picture of her food and posts that on social media. And then the last thing she does is she posts client success. So she'll be like, oh, let's celebrate with me. My client so-and-so just lost 10 pounds eating only foods she loves, or she'll do something, and that's all she does. She doesn't do a whole bunch of trainings. She doesn't do a whole bunch of stuff, but that's what feels easeful. That's what feels fun to her. And that's what gets people connected with her. And she's actually very successful. So this idea that it has to be all these things is an idea. Sometimes it can really be easy. It can really be simple, but it has to be in alignment. For me, it's look, I meant to come on live for 5 minutes and it's almost 25 minutes and I'm still talking. For me, doing trainings, talking, that's what feels easeful. That's what feels fun, as long as I'm in flow. So you have to find your own path. And if you'd like to figure out what that looks like for you, let's hop on a call. I would love to brainstorm with you as to what that might be for you, so that you could get the results you want and you could start really creating the impact that you can create. All right, that is it from me. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you're still here after 25 minutes, I love you. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.